Line D, the first flight of the orbital Discovery, and the shuttle has cleared the tower. Discovery's core computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
Oh, so today, well, I think I'm gonna be streaming again later tonight, but this will be a pretty quick early stream to like talk about this, and I'll try to do a later one around, I don't know, 10 or so before. The reason I'm breaking it up like that is because I am a big football fan, and I have a game to go to at in a little over an hour. So that's that. The topic itself is pretty straightforward. Pretty much going. I'm about to say there's not really much to like prep on. If there's more people, I like chat with y'all and see what you were up to. But you clicked on this video for a reason, so might as well stay pretty to the point. R. Kelly is a menace to society, by every definition of the word. If you aren't, if you aren't aware of the specifics of R. Kelly has a got 30 year plus history of sexual harassment, sexual assault. Um, I was gonna say I don't know, trigger warning. I don't know if that would be necessary since we're like dealing with R. Kelly, but I don't know. He has like a long history of doing all the bad things, like pedophilia. Even though technically it's dealing with like teenagers, I heard the correct word was like adultphilia, dealing with like adolescents. But I don't know. Neither here nor there. What you need to understand is R. Kelly is a scumbag, basically. And what we, I don't know, what we are to take from that is I don't know, he ruined a lot of futures for a lot of people, and he done things knowingly, willingly. I mean, he's been to court multiple times. He kept getting away with things. Like, there's videos which, thankfully, I mean, I'm sure there's still places on the internet you can find of him doing things with very young young girls. Not good. And it's not even just like the sexual stuff. Like, apparently he has a history of like psychological abuse, dealing with like other like musicians and other like stars and child stars and like the people around him. Apparently, like, everything about him is just not a good dude. I know I'm like rambling on about this, but I think it's super important to like, yeah, absolutely. He did urinate on a little girl on the internet. It, and like, I've seen the video. I've like, it happened. And like, this is, I don't know, where like he was finally not even on like half the things he did, but according to like the current things that are going on, we finally reached like a political climate that he was able to, the victims were able to get what you would consider in our like current, I don't know, in our current times to be justice. And I don't know, it's very complicated. Like, on one hand, like, in terms of public opinion, like I said, R. Kelly's a scumbag. But in terms of balancing that out with my views on criminal justice, like, does he need to seek some massive level of accountability? Absolutely. But there's like a dialogue going on in the Twitter spheres and like, among the discourse. I don't know how. This is pretty involved. Oh, thanks Jola for the follow. That's super cool. Appreciate it. But there's like, apparently there's like in the discourse there's conversations about like he should get the death penalty. He deserves 150 years, and I can't help but understand where these conversations like stem from. Like, the pain he's caused people, the anger he's created is, I don't know, like, it's super understandable. But the conversations, like, from the average layman, like, I honestly, it's not really that I care what the average layman thinks on this, but I'm curious because I've heard a lot of these opinions from people who consider themselves to be like part of like the prison abolitionist community, and the prison reform community, which to me comes off, I don't know about contradictory. I mean, that's probably the correct word, but I wish there was a better one to use for it. And I don't know. It's really complicated. Interesting. Okay. So, life without parole. That that is interesting. And I think that, like, another thing, let me preface with this, is like, everyone, no longer a poet, like, everyone is allowed to have their own opinions on this. Like, I'm no arbitrator of truth when it comes to these situations, especially when it deals with sexual assault, which is like a super sensitive topic. But I don't know. I am not I'm not a proponent of life sentences or the death penalty outside of cases dealing with like serial killers. People who, like, care nothing about their life, and if they were like, released back to the streets, they would be like a threat to do so again. And I don't know. Arguably, R. Kelly fits this definition. I guess, like, as a serial abuser. Um, but I don't know. It's really different. So like I think that's like important for me to put my perspective out there initially on where I'm coming from. So yeah, like I think that I don't know. At least in an American perspective, it seems like the solution we have for everyone who does anything is to throw them in jail forever, and think that solves the issue. And everybody understands that this isn't a good thing when it comes to like nonviolent drug offenses, and that seem like to me that's the easy work. The difficult part is what to do in cases like these when you're dealing with someone who publicly, like I said, we can all agree is like a terrible person. What what do we actually want the society we want to build to look like when it comes to these types of people? Are are they beyond reform? Are they beyond change? Can they grow? Even someone who's been doing something, repeatedly for 30 plus years of his life, probably potentially longer. Um, is this person too far gone? Is this who he is going? Is this who he is? And for the sake of society, we have to like keep him off the streets forever. Maybe, but I don't know. That sounds like a hard call. Hmm. Interesting. A lot of people deal with the concept of even the concept of punishment. Long dead poet. I'll just call you LDP for short. Um, just good. Like even the way we deal with like the concept of punitive justice is really interesting to me from a principled perspective. Um, I've heard arguments that make sense that like the reason we do punitive justice is to deter others from wanting to do the same. And but I I don't know. I'm not a big proponent in punitive justice. I'm not a big proponent in people needing to be punished for. I'm not a big proponent of people needing to be punished with the state punishing people. I'm a bigger advocate for restorative justice. To I just want people to be better people. I want you to be a more functioning member of society, and whatever it takes to do that. Even if you do something that we consider bad or wrong, even in the case like this of again rape, sexual assault, murder. Um, I don't know. I don't see the benefit of punishment. Now, again, in cases of like extreme cases of like serial committers, like there absolutely are going to be people in a society that are beyond reform. Um, and that's something that's like necessary to accept. But for the larger for the larger majority of people, I don't know. Maybe it's like I don't consider myself to be an optimist. I consider myself to generally be a realist. But in this case, maybe I am optimistic to believe that like with the right level of like therapy and resources, I believe most people can be reformed within a certain time frame. Because even when we deal with cases of like going to prison for 20 years, like 20 years of your life, I couldn't even imagine that. Like we we like even a decade. People like to minimize like levels of punishment. Like, oh, they only got 10 years. That's no, like they got off easy. They got a slap on the wrist. Like I'm 26. That is nearly half of my life. 10 years ago, I was 16 years old. I'm not even the same human being. I'm not even the same person I was 10 years ago. I I couldn't imagine like not having losing that portion of my life. And but in America, we do 10 years is nothing. 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. Like I said, life sentences is I'm not the norm, but like definitely not like it's not the most unreasonable thing. We hear about it way too often. And I don't know. It seems like there's a lot of other countries that seem to have figured out, like with lower rates of crime, have figured out that like locking someone up for that length of time isn't necessary. Chola, new follow, but coming in hot. If the goal is to stop people reoffending, a punitive justice system is ineffective, but the state's goal is not to stop reoffending. And then LDP came in with, I agree that in most instances, reformative justice is superior. Even most murder offenders do not commit again. There are specific circumstances that need to be met usually before a murder occurs. Exactly. Like both of y'all coming in, making sense. And you're right. Like it does come with the issue. Like it does come with the issue of the state. This is, I'm about to say, kind of staying on topic, but moving. I don't know. Like I guess like a little pause in this right now. What are y'all's opinion on the concept of prison abolition? Because I have a lot of friends who consider themselves to be abolitionists, and I've read some abolitionist theory, I guess, writing. I don't know. I'm not a big theory reading person, just being completely honest about that. But I had some friends that I like respect their opinions, who asked me to look into it, so I did. And it there's two types of people who identify as abolitionists. There's some who our disagreements are just semantic, and there's others who our disagreements are rooted in like reality. Like the semantic disagreement is some people who consider a society that consider like a society that makes people tries to like restore people and make people better for society. Like they consider that a society that doesn't have that place can't be a prison. But I consider any place any place that you're detained, that you're like not allowed to leave of your own volition. I consider that to be a prison by definition, even if they're doing good things. And that's kind of why I'm not an abolitionist, because I'm like, there's gonna be a place we put people. Like when people do, do things, break whatever rules we have for society, break laws, and we need to like stop them from doing whatever they're doing. There has to be a place we can put them and detain them against, like against their will. And you can, whatever name you want to call it. To me, that's jail, that's prison, that's, it is what it is. But some people disagree. Some people think prison is always bad. If you're doing something to restore them, it's no longer prison. I don't know. That just seemed to me that like semantically doesn't make sense. But I understand. You think private prisons should be abolished, but I like the way they do reformative prisons in a few of the Scandinavian countries, state-run facilities that work to reform people. Absolutely. Yeah, the Scandinavian countries are generally what I point to when I look at a lot of these countries. Look at a lot of other countries, because I think in the maximum sentence in Scandinavia is like a decade, which again is a long time. I don't think that that's right. Like what? And they have lower crime rates than us. It just makes sense. Oh yeah, and the other side of prison abolitionists that I don't agree with are people that believe that a society like we'll be able to create a society that doesn't need to detain people. Like people won't do crime because we'll meet people's like meet people's like material needs, and at that point, people will no longer need to do crime. And I find this to be super reductive and like pie in the sky. Um, any rules you have in a society, you're gonna have people that break them, and you're gonna have people who commit violence against others. Like, no, don't get me wrong. These numbers would be dramatically lowered in a society that like met people's material needs, but you're going to have cases where that does happen, and you're going to need people to stop them. And that's like by end of the name is going to be what we know now as police, and you're going to need places to put them that we know by like that's going to be prison. It's going to be jail. That's just how this works. So yeah, that's my issue with abolition as a whole. But yeah, my bad. I feel like that was a important distinction to make. Bringing this back to R. Kelly. Like, again, I don't want this conversation I don't want this conversation to come off as me being sympathetic to him or even empathetic to him, because I don't understand. Like, I don't feel him. I don't feel for him. It's not even actually about him. R. Kelly is literally just an example of a terrible person who, like, using one of the more terrible people of society to see if my beliefs, if my convictions are true, are real when it comes to my feelings on prison, and it seems to be the case. Um, yeah, I don't know. That's pretty much. It's not really it. That's sort of the general foundation that I have came to. I think, yeah, I think I'm gonna make that a segment. That may be its own video. I may have to chop this up later. Cool. Um, Let me see if there was something else that I was looking at that was going on. Oh crap! I was just. Oh yeah, I also wanted to talk about the John Gruden situation. Let me see if I can pull it up. Hmm. John Gruden emails everything you need to know. Let's see if that's true. It's not everything I need to know because I don't even have quotes. I need the quotes. Hmm. Sorry, y'all. It's taking a second. I should have pulled this up beforehand, but I'm irresponsible. So this is how it's going. How's y'all's days going, by the way? Does nobody want to pull up the actual emails? Ah, okay. This will work. New York Post. All right, just making some lunch. What you eating for lunch, man? Okay. Hmm. I appreciate it. That's what most people remember. But I'm glad you came by. I'm trying to start streaming more regularly, but this is like all new to me. I'm gonna get the hang of it though, and it's gonna be like the most interesting streams you ever seen in your life. Okay, so John Gruden, for y'all, those of you who aren't football fans, the is a former Super Bowl winning head coach and former head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. The reason he's former is because recently there was an email leak scandal from the Washington football team, formerly known as the Washington, not good name to say, and he was involved with them. Some of the quotes were, "DeMaurice Smith has lips the size of Michelin tires." This DeMaurice Smith is a black man, and I'm not gonna say John Gruden's racist. I mean, I don't know the man personally, but this this email was definitely inappropriate for a person who is a head coach of a league that has 70% black players. He made like an early apology about that because he assumed that was going to be the only thing that came out. He refers to liars as rubber lips. "I don't think he's dumb," Gruden told the Journal. "I don't think he's a liar. I don't have a racial bone in my body, and I've proven that for 58 years. Shannon Sharp said, "I don't know if you have a racial bone, but you have a racial tongue," for the specific words you said. And this actually wasn't the straw that broke the camel's back, because racism itself is never enough for people. Like, that always gets apologized for. What actually did the deed was further emails that released over the weekend. Oh my goodness, is this not gonna say it? Crap. I was sure this was everything. Now I'm annoyed. Hold on a second. Oh, thanks, genetically modified possum. I appreciate the follow. Anybody who's not following, like, it would be super cool if you did. You don't have to, I mean, but like, if you subscribe or whatever, like, everyone helps. Give me a second. I now have to find the second email, the email of the second part of this. the second part of this. Oop, let's see here. Okay, this will work. It's not quite perfect, but it'll do the deed. I don't know if he's racist. He's dealt with a lot of like black people, but I don't know. It was just like it was just an inappropriate email to send. Like I won't go further than that without knowing more details. Um, yeah, he made an email about the NFL commissioner, calling him a F slur, which is, don't get me wrong. Like there's a I love football, but there is a link between, at least currently, historically, there's definitely a link between like football, the American football, and like homophobia. Like there's a lot of that going on. Like John Gruden's not special in this area. He's just the person that got caught. But what makes this like so much worse is the Raiders have the first openly active gay player on their team, which, like, I don't know, it's like horrible timing for something like this to come out whenever, yeah, like you have the first openly gay player and find out that his kid coach had something like a scandal like this come out is ironic, to say the least. He also called him a pussy boy, which isn't great. I don't know. Anyways, that's that. Like there's like 76 emails of bad things, and there's probably a lot of bad things that YouTube and Twitch wouldn't want me saying on a stream. So we set the stage. Now we ask the tough questions. Is this situation an act of what we call cancel culture? Because these emails, I think, are at least a decade old. I want to say. At least 2011. I'm not hardcore specific on that. It could be either 2011 or 2015. I don't know. Either way. They're multiple years ago. He wasn't even doing the same job. He was a TV announcer when these emails were sent, which is still inappropriate to send, and it would have been inappropriate at the time he sent them. Like that's not changing that. But some people are saying that it's old bringing this up now. Like it's cancel culture at it again. We're taking away people's jobs. Other people are saying that he's in a position he's getting paid literally $100 million to do this level of job. He's going to be on a thin rope, and the things he said would have been inappropriate and abhorrent even for the time that he said them. And this is what accountability looks like. Technically, he wasn't fired. Technically, he resigned, but he was fired. It was resigned, so you don't have to get fired. I'm not a big fan of cancel culture as a whole. I don't think it's that real. I don't think there's like tons of cases of it happening everywhere. But it definitely exists. It definitely happens. It's definitely been annoying. I don't personally. I understand he grew up in a different time. I understand that these were, I guess jokes, if you call them that he considered appropriate, like that he thought were in good jest, and like there was a time like within our recent history where all of these jokes like would have been pretty minor. To some people in some communities, it still is pretty minor. But I don't know. I take the opinion that even if you look at the time, like if these were emails from like I don't know, 1982, I may actually feel differently on the matter. But um, if these emails were from 2011 or 2015 or 2011, whenever they came out, like that's recent enough that those I don't know, those opinions, like those things are still inappropriate. And like I said, I do also add in the fact that like him losing this job doesn't like hurt his family. He, like I said, this man is worth over $100 million at this point in his career from what he was doing previously. And I don't know. I think people in his position of power like have to understand the type of microscope you're under. That's just really my perspective, though. Like I said, people are open to feel differently, have their own opinion on it if they do. This is just where I stand. Oh yeah, come here. Layla got a Layla got a haircut. She doesn't stink now. Her She hasn't had a haircut in a long time, and now she looks tiny and adorable. But yeah, I mean, LGBT, like people do usually just the only issue I have, the only issue I have with this actually isn't even. I don't know. I don't want to like pin communities against each other. That's not the take I want to give. I just want to. I find it weird that whenever we were dealing with the situation exclusively involving racism, um, well, tell her she can have her. She looks cute, but she's a handful, literally. But I think that yeah, my only issue was when it seemed like it was just racism involved. It seemed like something could that like the NFL was going to attempt to like gloss over, um, because I think he ended up even coaching like the next game of the week, like when it was just racism. But whenever we add in takes of misogyny and like homophobia, which are all like super valid and super important, that's where we crossed the line. And again, this isn't a shot at those communities, and this isn't like an issue with those like with people who deal with these things because they're super valid and super important. I just think the racism should have been enough. If you're going to make this decision, like it doesn't adding in those other things shouldn't be like, oh well, now we're the deal breaker. Because I believe that I believe a there's a racism is the hardest pill to swallow in America right now. No one likes the word. No one wants to be identified with it. No one wants to be associated with even the idea of potentially being not not labeled a racist, but doing racism. Because like I said, I don't know if he's a racist. I wouldn't go that far, but what he said was racist, and like I said, and inappropriate. And I believe the NFL as a whole didn't feel comfortable labeling John Gruden as a racist. So it was something they wanted to let's see. Do you think it is a complication of multiple that the issues are more deal breakers to these corporations? Yeah, I think as far as like the public light goes, I think that as of right now, again, like I think we just hold a really 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 high bar for racism right now that we don't necessarily hold for homophobia and misogyny. Like people people are people are offended to be called a misogynist. People are more offended to be called homophobic, but people are really offended to be called racist. Um, and that's just that's just kind of where we are in society. And I think the NFL didn't know how to go forward. Like, can we call him a racist? And it was like, no. Which again, I don't think you have to. I can think what he said was racist, but I think the NFL didn't know how to deal with that situation. And once they know they were dealing with, I guess, what I would consider, I don't want this doesn't. I'm not saying this from like a negative space, but a lower bar of entry, like homophobia. Like, oh, okay, like yeah, we can call that homophobia. Like that was clear. That was blatant homophobia. It became just a easier corporate decision to make because once she, I don't know. I feel like most people think once you throw the racism card or once you throw the racist card, um, I don't know. There's in America right now. There's a lot of people who don't believe it exists unless you're saying something like, right? You can't do anything racist unless you like explicitly say like I think my race is superior to your race, or I think that your um I don't know, like we we try to do things we for racism, like I said, we just have a high bar for like what we consider to be blatant. And I get it. Oh, hey, Isbo, we're right now we're talking about John Gruden and his recent firing as the head coach of the Raiders over a leak of emails. What up, Andrew? Doing pretty good. I was about to say this is like I was about to say this is just a really really quick stream. I'm probably gonna come back on later tonight. I have a game to go to at 6 o'clock, or yeah, well not 6 o'clock. I live in Central Time, so it would be so in like 30 minutes. So I'm gonna stream for another 30 minutes. Then I have to run. But I wanted to talk about this before I left. Hmm. And what up, Nathan? Yeah, I mean, and I mean, it can be hurtful, and but that's not even really what it's about. Like what John Gruden said didn't hurt me personally. I've heard way worse in my lifetime. Um, yeah, that's not what it's about. This is a principle thing. Um, oh yeah, so basically, what I was saying is, he's like I said, his quotes are like I said, he said oh yeah, like thanks for chatting with me. Don't let me thank y'all because like if y'all weren't here listening and having a conversation with me, I would be talking to myself, and that wouldn't that wouldn't feel good. Um, basically, John Gruden had an initial email leak where he said that former players' lips look like Michelin tires, which a black player, and it was like super inappropriate. Like I said, I consider the term to be racist. I don't know if John Gruden himself is racist, but I think the term was. Like I'm just repeating all this for y'all that were here because there's like a few more people coming in who don't understand the context. So this came out initially. Um, John Gruden made a statement. I don't have a racist bone in my body. And he's like, and that was kind of pretty much it. There was really no level of like accountability for that. It was just like it is what it is. So then more emails leaked with him saying and notice he commented on that. He said that like I'm not racist, because that was like he like, again, he didn't want to be associated with being a racist, which sure. So then he came back and he said that the commissioner, he said he called Joe Biden a nervous, clueless pussy, and he said that the NFL commissioner was anti football pussy, and he also called him the F slur. These were the specific things he said that got him fired, and I'm pretty much discussing. The first thing we were talking about is if this counted as cancel culture, because these emails released are at least 5 years old and potentially 10. I don't know the specifics. I just know before he had this job, and I said no, just because of the level of, like, one, the emails would have still been irresponsible for the time that they did come out. Like, if these emails are from 1987, I said, or 1992, I would have probably had a different opinion, because, like, I don't believe that, like, I don't know, like, even though I would have considered it morally wrong, I don't think that, like, society had deemed it so by that point. But by 2011, I believe the F slur, I believe the comments on like the lips, like I believe all of these things, even the calling people, which I don't know, people say pussy, I don't know, that it's weird. Ooh, that is actually the Easbo. That's a really good point. I actually wanted to bring that up too. Hold that for a second. Let me get through this, but that I actually do want to talk about that. Yeah, I think I don't know. I consider it to be, it is what it is, because, like I said, because of he's making $100 million means you're gonna be put under a microscope. And if someone's paying me $100 million, I understand that I have like a very like a pretty much zero tolerance standard. But the issue is that it didn't become a zero tolerance standard. Like, whenever it was just racism, that wasn't enough. And again, I'm not calling him a racist. I'm saying what he said was racist. When it was just racism, that wasn't like, he just denied it, and the NFL tried to like move on from it. But when you add in homophobia and misogyny, now it became something that they could come to this decision over. And I was basically saying that that's because I believe that like people are more willing to accept being called homophobic or being called misogynistic than they are being called racist. And like I said, I'm not saying that he's racist, but saying called the things, their actions being called racist. And that's because society feels really uncomfortable around the issue of race and racism. And that definitely sticks with the NFL as well. But Isbo, what you brought up was a really, really good point. He is being removed from the Ring of Honor, and I think that is, well, I can see it being appropriate. I mean, I guess this is rainbow capitalism. This is literally like they're doing this to virtue signal. They're not doing this because they actually care or believe in any of these issues. I'm sure half the staff and members on the team have said worse. They just didn't get caught via email right now, and even including the owner. So I think that, yeah, if Gruden's going to be out, then yeah, Warren Sapp should definitely be out, because Warren Sapp has like physically violent, abusive history, which, I mean, if we had to put him in a tier list, it would definitely be worse. So that was like, I hadn't even considered that angle, actually, but that's super true. Um. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think as a society, we I think we need to find. I think we need to find a better use of language. Yeah, well, I'm just saying, Andrew. What I'm saying is that the racism should have been enough. If the homophobia and the misogyny, like, why did that take it? Why was that crossing the line? Why was that overboard? I'm not saying that those issues aren't equally important, but I'm saying that, like, racism alone should be, if the decision you're going to come to is firing him, racism alone should meet that bar. I believe, for the position that he's in, and it didn't. And like I said, the reason it didn't is because the NFL doesn't want to. Like I said, the NFL didn't want to call John Gruden a racist, and because it's like a really uncomfortable word to deal with, and it's like got a lot of heavy connotations that no one wants to like associate with. Calling someone homophobic, calling someone misogynistic doesn't carry the same societal weight as calling someone a racist, which is why John Gruden specifically made a comment pushing back against the racism, but he didn't make a comment pushing back against the like homophobia or misogyny comments, because it was like, oh well, whatever. Like those are tags he, although he probably disagrees with, he didn't feel it was strong enough for him to have to like come out and comment against. Exactly. Yeah. Gruden, exactly, Jolly. Gruden's just like the fall man for this. This is bigger than Gruden. I'm sure there's other emails that are bad or worse, and I'm sure there's worse things being said in NFL locker rooms right now. And it's even weirder because the homophobia comments, because the Raiders have the first openly gay player on their team, or openly gay active player on their team, which is just like added insult to injury. Yes, misogyny does impact like over half the population. I mean, like, yeah, it does impact over half the population. And if it was just misogyny, I think that could also that also could have been enough. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not minimizing these issues. I'm saying that I feel like it shouldn't have taken all three. Like, racism's like, that's one thing, but when you add in misogyny and homophobia, now you've crossed the line. Like, I think that any one of those issues is strong enough are strong enough on their own to reach the decision that the NFL like came to. I feel like trying to minimize it when it's racism, because you don't think that John Gruden himself is racist. Like, again, I feel like that's the NFL not wanting to deal with the blowback that would come with it. And the thing is, like, I recognize it. It's the reason why it's actually a reason why I keep like I deal with it myself. It's the reason why I keep prefacing that I don't know if John Gruden is a racist, because I even understand the connotations of saying someone is a racist, saying that someone's like value system is racist, like someone at their core is a racist person. That is like a heavy blow to place on someone, and I don't like throw that around lightly. I save that for like Nick Fuentes. I don't know, like, yeah, like, like saying someone is a racist is like a high bar for me. So I understand the difference. I understand how we as a society weigh it. But I don't, just because I understand it doesn't mean that excuses the way the NFL decided to behave and like decided to handle that situation. But this is all literally just my opinion. I understand it was like a hard call to make for them, and that is what it is. Dang, that was that was another pretty good segment. Y'all missed my like R. Kelly prison um conversation earlier, but I think I'm going to split these up into two segments and make them like their own videos. Like obviously you'll be able to look at the VOD, but I want to. I think these will work as standalone videos. I think they're covered enough. So hopefully y'all like check those out later, or check out the first half later, if I get around to like uploading it. And yeah, I'm a big football fan. Huge. That's one. I like I said. That's why I have to go in 15 minutes. I have to go to a football game. And I'll come back and stream later. Uh, hmm. How'd you know that? I am a Falcons fan. Is it because I've said where I'm from? I don't know. That's what crazy. But yeah, I am a Falcons fan. Even though it's like I don't know, it's like an abusive relationship. I'm a Falcons fan, and I'm also a Browns fan when it comes to the NFL. Even though I watch like a bunch of NFL teams, those are my two big ones. The Falcons and the Browns. When it comes to college football, I am a Clemson Tiger fan, which I don't know. I've just been for years and years. I had an uncle who went to Clemson, and it made me. I don't know. I've just always been a fan. Hey, man, you can't do sports. I don't know. I've been a big football fan forever. I was about to say I do technically remember a time where I didn't like watching sports, but I was also like really really young. I was probably like 7 or 8 whenever I didn't enjoy watching sports. I don't like. I think a part of my passion comes from like I have like a long history of playing. Like I played high school and college football, but even if you don't play sports, it's something. I don't know. I think it's something like a lot of people can. The reason a lot of people grasp onto it is because of the way it brings people together. Just the concept of the camaraderie. Like I don't know. I like seeing people. I like seeing competition. I like seeing challenges, and I mean that's not just like sports. That also goes into esports. I like watching people play video games. I like anime because anime is mostly combative. A Colts fan. Now that is interesting. I only know one other Colts fan, and he said he became a Colts fan because of Peyton Manning and kind of like stuck to it. Hmm. Arhuel. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing. What do you do? I like the stories behind the players. Yeah, there's also that's his own thing. Like that's why I really got into the 30 for 30s because watching the 30 for 30s because it's like so many like interesting stories about interesting people involved with players. I don't know. It's always super cool. But yeah, Arhuel, what sports have you played in your life? And this isn't like I said, we're just the only reason this is like rolled into sports. I don't want to like bore y'all just because we were talking about John Gruden and it's kind of like transitioned here. But I don't know. Yeah, that I'm pretty sure. Well, I don't. Yeah, I don't. I didn't mean what you played like now. Just what you used to or what you enjoy when you do. I suck at basketball. I am the black man who cannot play basketball. It's um I don't know if it's my hand eye coordination or the fact that I is not like enough contact, but I was never a good basketball player. Carlton, I'm super glad you caught alive too. I appreciate it. Like, I'm eventually going to build up a schedule so like y'all know when I'm going to stream. But as of right now, it's really kind of random. Um, I stream whenever I figure out what I want to talk about, and I just kind of go from there. Um, but yeah, in high school, I played football in the fall, and I was a big wrestler. In the spring, the only reason I got into wrestling is because my football coach told me it would make me a better football player, which it did to a degree. But I ended up like really enjoying wrestling itself. It it's by far the toughest sport I've ever done. Even though I love football, like I respect wrestling as like a really um thing. Hmm. If you was watching the R. Kelly piece, I would have asked about your music choice. I mean, like I said, I'm a hip hop R&B person at heart. Like that's my love. But I like I said, I'm pretty open. I listen to like some oldies. I listen to rock. Like I said, I love Queen. I used to listen to Kiss. I like Guns N' Roses. I like Red Hot Chili Peppers. I like Green Day. I like some country. I like bluegrass. Um, I don't know. I'm pretty all over the place when it comes to my music taste. Um, I'm actually curious. What's y'all's opinion on death of the artist? Like the idea of like hate the artist, like appreciate the art, because that's where I've been trying to figure out my position when it comes to this R. Kelly thing. Like R. Kelly growing up was like a staple of not necessarily my household, but like weddings, birthdays, cookouts. R. Kelly got played a lot, and it's weird because even when I was growing up, people knew what was going on with R. Kelly. Like it just got big now, but people knew. Oh, um, and the question becomes now: do I like? And the talent is there regardless. Like I have to acknowledge that the Pied Piper is a talented musical producer. But do you think I have a responsibility now, knowing what I know and knowing that some of these songs were written about young girls to no longer listen to his music, even illegally, legally or illegally? Oh, Dylan, what's up? Hmm. Adult Michael. I'm so torn on Michael Jackson. I legit like everything in me tells like I know he got off on the charges, but like I believe Michael Jackson did it. That's personally, and that is a tough opinion to state like in a black household. Like you gonna put it on Michael? Michael, not Michael. Michael innocent. Like the court of law does not tell us much. We've seen innocent people go to jail for stuff. I feel like we've seen guilty people get off of stuff. I think Michael did it, but I can't prove it. I don't know. It is what it is. But yeah, that I don't know. That's weird. Like, so no Thriller, no Billie Jean. That's interesting. These both. I don't know. I have like I have a really close friend who feels very strongly about uh not listening to the artist anymore. You're right. You can almost buy your way out of jail, which sucks. Right? Yeah, the Return to Neverland stuff, like that was yeah, that was really uncomfortable to watch for me. Uh-oh. Nathan coming in with the hot take. Well, it's not a hot take. Millions of people love Michael Jackson. Probably close to a billion. Unironically. It's interesting, huh? I have no idea. Like I don't know. Like if Beyonce, I don't know, if Beyonce went on like a killing spree next week, like does that mean I can no longer listen to Single Ladies? I love Single Ladies. Put your hands up. I don't know. It's complicated. Anyways, like I said, I'll potentially be streaming later tonight whenever I get back from this game. It sucks that like all y'all just started showing up right here at the end. I'm going to like I said, I'm gonna try to split up the videos and turn them into individual segments. So if you missed like the first part, you can potentially catch it later. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. I appreciate y'all. This was this was a nice little stream. Like I said, hopefully I'll be back later. I think I'm going to I think I don't know. I'm gonna come back on just to have like a regular, more chill conversation. I think I'm going to try to catch one of Prime's open panels because he has like panels that like people can just go to. Um, get on. I'm gonna try to get on one of those. I think he's supposed to be having one tonight. If I do, then that's cool. You can check me out on here or on there. And if I don't, then I don't know. Like either way, yeah. Andrew, Dylan, Charlton, Nathan, Easbo, like I appreciate y'all. I have with y'all. Jola. Y'all have a good rest of y'all's day, bro. Wherever y'all at. Yeah, definitely good to see y'all again.